Good morning. Today's topic is planar graphs. So suppose if I have a graph and I want to create a graph in such a way the edges of the graph should not cross each other. That is, the graph should be represented in such a way that the edges should not cross each other. So consider this problem, the house and utilities problem. Now in this, we have joined three houses with three separate utilities such as this water and electricity and also gas. Now we are supposed to consider that is it possible to join these houses and the utilities that is the gas, water connection and the electricity connection, so that none of the connections cross. Okay, so the problem can be basically stated as, if I want to create the connections in such a way that no two wires or connections should cross each other. So this problem can be modeled by using your K33 complete bipartite graph. K3,3, that is a complete bipartite graph. So if you notice, each of these, if it is considered as a vertex and these three services are also considered as vertex, then each of them is connected to every other vertex. If this is the set V1 and V2, then all the vertices of V1 are connected to all the other vertices of V2. So this can be modeled as a K33 complete bipartite graph with three vertices in each of the set. Can we divide it in such a way that, or can we draw it in a plane in such a way that no two edges, so this edge and this edge is overlapping over here, these two edges are overlapping with this, so no two edges should overlap or cross. So this problem or this kind of situation is the reason why we need to study planar graphs. So basically the question is whether a graph can be drawn in the plane without edges crossing. So we will see the different kind of graphs we can draw in that way. So the next thing is planar graph. A graph is basically, so consider the previous slide. Is it possible to join the three houses to the three utilities in such a way that none of the connections cross? Now the question is given as follows. It is equivalent to, given the complete bipartite graph K3,3, can K3,3 be drawn in the plane so that no two of its edges cross as given here. Okay, so this is the K33 graph. Now before that, before looking into the solution of that problem, we will see the definition of the planar graph. A graph is called planar if it can be drawn in the plane without any edges crossing. So when a crossing of edges, basically what do you mean by the crossing? If two edges intersect, intersection of the edges or lines or arcs representing them at a point, intersection of edges at a point other than the vertex. At vertex obviously they will meet, but other than the vertex, if they meet somewhere, then that is called as a crossing. So or edges intersecting. So this kind of intersection should not occur in a planar graph. So a crossing of edges is the intersection of the lines or arcs representing them at a point other than their common endpoint. After that, such a drawing is called a planar representation of the graph. Now, for example, a graph may be planar even if it is usually drawn with crossings. So since it may be possible to draw it in another way without crossing. So we may be given a graph like the example given over here. So I am saying that this is a planar graph. How is it possible that it is a planar graph even though these two edges are intersecting in the center? Basically your vertices are 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the center there is no vertex, but the edges are intersecting or crossing. So I am saying still it is a planar graph. I can draw another representation of this graph in this way. Okay, now if you notice, I have removed this vertex, and instead of drawing it here, basically the vertex, the edge that I am selecting, this one, the one joining 2, 3, I can even draw it in this way as shown in the figure. Okay, so basically I have shown the edge in such a way that it is not crossing. So this kind of representation is known as a planar graph. Even this is a planar graph, but this is the correct way to represent it because the edges are not crossing. Now the next example is a graph may be planar even if it represents a three-dimensional object. So if you take the cube, then the cube is also planar, even though right now in this figure it is intersecting over here, here, okay, just in the diagram. But if I draw it in this way, then the edges are not intersecting, right? The edges are completely not crossing each other or not intersecting each other. So this is a graph may be planar. So this is the representation of a cube in the planar form. A graph may be planar even if it represents a three-dimensional object. Now the next is, can we prove a particular graph is planar by showing how it can be drawn without any crossing? However, not all graphs are planar. Basically, not all the graphs are planar. It may be difficult to show that a graph is non-planar. We would have to show that there is no way to draw a graph without any edges crossing. So basically, in the planar graphs also, suppose if I have given you a graph that we took in our earlier example, so maybe this is the graph. Then to this, I am joining it with, okay, this is just a random example. Now over here, if I'm marking it as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Now, if I want to show that this graph is either planar or non-planar, I have to draw the graph in such a way that no two edges intersect. Now, we may not get that in the first attempt, that is, we may not be able to draw it in the planar form in the first attempt or the second attempt. So until and unless we can show that there is no way to draw the graph without any edges crossing, it will be difficult. So basically, if you remember Euler, Leonhard Euler solved or gave the Euler path in Euler circuits for our Königsberg problem. Here also, Euler showed that all planar representation of a graph split the plane into the same number of regions, including an unbound region. So basically, the Euler showed that all planar representations of a graph split the plane into same number of regions by using a formula. He found a relationship among the number of vertices and the number of edges and the number of regions in a planar graph. So he created a formula to show that all the planar regions can be, all the regions in a planar representation of graph can be found out. So if G is a connected planar simple graph with E edges and V vertices, then the number of regions R is given as E minus V plus 2. So the number of regions in the planar representation of graph G is given as E minus V plus 2, where E is the number of edges. Capital E is your edge set, and capital V is your vertex set. Here small v, let me write it this way. Small v is the number of vertices, small e is the number of edges in the graph capital G. Then the number of regions, if it is a planar graph, will be equal to E minus V plus 2. So now based on this, let's verify this formula for this graph G. So over here, if you remember, this graph is a planar representation of a complete graph K4. Okay, if our vertices are V1, V2, V3 and V4, then this graph is a planar representation of our complete graph K. So how many regions do we have in the graph? We have R1. So basically a region is a graph, a region in a graph is basically enclosed part or which creates a cycle, and also the unbounded region of the graph. Over here we have R1, R2, R3 and R4 regions. Okay, So R we have to find out. We already know, but we'll find out. And what is the value of E? The number of edges is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus the number of vertices is 4 plus 2. So R is equal to 8 minus 4, which is 4. So for any planar representation, for any connected planar simple graph with E edges and V vertices, the number of regions in that graph is E minus V plus 2. Basically, now we have completed this region. Now we will see, suppose we will see an example for the same. Suppose that a connected planar simple graph has 20 vertices. So the number of vertices is 20. Always the set of always the vertex set is denoted by capital V, and the number of vertices will be denoted by small v. The reason I am emphasizing is that it will be easier to understand for the examiner who is evaluating your papers. So small v is the number of vertices, which is given as 20, and the degree of each vertex is 3. Degree of each vertex is 3. So we are not given the number of edges. Instead, we have been given the degree. We have to find the number of edges. Now the question is, how many regions does a representation of this planar graph split the plane? Okay, so now since this graph has 20 vertices, solution V is given already as 20 and each of degree 3, and because the sum of the degrees of the vertices is equal to the number of edges. So basically 3 into each vertex, because each vertex degree is 3v, so 3 into 20 is 60. But this 60 is equal to 2e. Okay, why am I taking 2e? Because for each vertex is connected. Here we got 60, but suppose if we have one vertex of 2 vertices of degree 1, so I'll say the degree is 1 into 2, but how many edges do we have? We will have to divide it by 2. So here also basically the formula is degree of vertices is equal to 2 into e. So 60 will be divided by 2, we will get edge is equal to 30. So the number of edges in the graph is 30, the number of vertices in the graph is 20. Once again I am saying, look in this diagram, look at this diagram. Yeah, so here if I have 2 vertices v1 and v2, each has a degree 1, which means it is connected, v1 is connected to v2, that's it. Now I am saying that if each has a degree 1, how many edges are there? There is only one edge. So the summation of the degrees of each vertex is divided by 2 when we have to find the number of edges. Now let's proceed with our problem. So we want to find the region, so directly use the formula. The formula is R is equal to E minus V plus 2, where E is the number of edges, V is the number of vertices. So E is, we have got it as 30, vertices was already given as 20 plus 2. So 32 minus 20 is equal to 12. So basically in this graph with 20 vertices and 30 edges, the number of regions is 12. So with respect to this, now let's see. That in a planar representation of K33, vertex V1 must be connected to, now we are seeing our earlier, the first slide that we have seen, matching the house to the utilities problem. Now we will check whether K33 can be planar or not. Okay, so vertex V1, so K33 is a basically complete bipartite graph. So vertex V1 must be connected to both V4 and V5, V6, and V2 must also be connected. So basically, let's see this. Yeah, V1 is connected to all of them, V4, V5, V6. Similarly, V2 is connected to all and V3. Now, the four edges V1, V4, V4, V2, V2, V5, V5, V1 form a closed curve that splits the plane into two regions. Now, if I take only four edges, V1, V2, V4 and V5. Let's see this. V1, V2, V4 and V5. So if I am taking a bipartite graph in this way and V4 and V5. Now here you will see that this is totally we will get four edges, four vertices, and there are four edges. So here also I have four vertices and four edges, and I have got two regions. Now next we note that V3 must be in either region 1 or region 2. Now we have to add the next vertex of this graph, V3. To add V3, I can add it either in region 1 or region 2. So what I am doing is I am writing it over here. Since V3 is connected to both V4 and V5. Okay. So I placed it in the center and have connected it. I don't need to connect V3 to V1 and V2. So I can proceed. Now I have region R1. The region R2 is divided into two halves, R21 and R22. Okay. After that, now there is no way to place vertex 6 without forcing a crossing. So now suppose if V6, if I am placing it in R1, okay, I can connect V6 to V1 this way, V6 to V2 this way, but V6 and V3 will cross. Okay, so I cannot place V6 in R1. Now this way we have to check whether we can place V6 in R21. So V6 if I am placing in R21, okay, I can connect V1, V3 without any crossing, but I cannot connect V6 and V2. When I connect that, the edges will cross. So this is also not possible. Now V6 in R22. So if I place it here, V6 and V1 will cross, must cross an edge. So this way we can see that there is no way K33 graph can be a planar representation. Now proceeding. Alternatively, assume V3 in R1. So we are basically placing, instead of V3 outside, we are trying to place V3 inside earlier. We are trying to place V3 outside and checking whether we can place it in such a way that we can create a planar representation. So this, please verify it by yourself. Place V3 outside, check whether you can create, and then after that, try to place V6 the same way. So basically, the conclusion is that the graph K33 must be non-planar. We have seen all the scenarios and we are concluding that the graph K33 is not planar. Now, Euler devised a formula for expressing the relationship between the number of vertices, edges and regions of a graph. These may help us determine if a graph can be planar or not. So even Euler's formula can be useful in determining whether the graph is planar or not. So R will be equal to E minus V plus 2. So over here, how many edges do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. For each vertex, I have 3 edges. So the total number of edges, we have to see only one pair of vertices. So 9 minus how many vertices do we have? We have 6 vertices plus 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11 minus 6. It is saying that we have got 5 regions. But is it possible? We have seen all the different ways and we see that K33 is not planar. Let G be a connected planar simple graph with E edges and V vertices, then our formula for Euler. Euler's formula for planar graph. So of edges, E vertices, the same thing that I have found out. Now, if G is a connected planar simple graph with E edges and V vertices where V is greater than or equal to 3, then E is less than or equal to 3V minus 6. Now, based on this statement of Euler's formula, we have derived this equation also. Whenever the graph is planar simple graph, then the number of edges will be less than or equal to 3v minus 6. So let's verify now. In the earlier case of K33, we had 9 edges and we had 6 vertices. 3 into 6 minus 6. So 9 is less than 12. Okay, but is our K33 planar? Or let's take another graph. Yeah, is K5 planar? So let's check for that. The number of edges in K5 will be n into n minus 1 by 2. Why we are taking K5? Because it is a complete graph. So 5 into 5 minus 1 by 2, we have 10 edges. Okay, this is the formula to find the number of edges in complete graph. Number of edges in complete graph. Okay, so 10 edges. Now here, what we can do is, we can try to check our condition. We have 5 vertices and 10 edges. So 10 is less than or equal to 3 into 5 minus 6. 10 is less than or equal to 15 minus 6. 10 is less than or equal to 9. Since the condition is false, we can clearly state that K5 is non-planar. Let's see that. K5 has 5 vertices and 10 edges. V is greater than or equal to 3. Condition satisfied. So if K5 is planar, it must be true that E is less than or equal to 3V minus 6. Now in that case, 3V minus 6 is 9 and edges E must be less than 9. It is false. So K5 is non-planar. Now with respect to this, if G has 1 or 2 vertices, it is true that we assume that G has at least. So basically the next corollary, if G is a connected planar graph, then G must have a vertex of degree not exceeding 5. So basically whenever we have a connected planar graph, then your graph should have a vertex of degree not exceeding 5. Basically in our earlier example, what is the degree here? We have degree 4. Suppose in a connected planar graph, if we don't have a vertex of degree not exceeding 5, then what will happen is your graph will be not planar. If G has 1 or 2 vertices, it is true. Thus we assume that G has at least 3 vertices. If the degree of each vertex were at least 6, then our theorem is 2 into edges, that is the number of edges twice will be equal to the summation of all degrees. So 2E is greater than or equal to 6V and E is greater than or equal to 3V. So this is our incorrect, because we have seen what should be the equation. The equation is E is less than or equal to 3V minus 6. So whenever the degree exceeds 5, that is we have each vertex of degree exceeding 5, then it will not be planar. Now the next thing is, based on our theorem, we are taking these statements. If a connected planar simple graph has E edges and V vertices and no circuits of length 3, in that case our edges should be less than or equal to 2V minus 4. Now we will be checking for K33 whether it is planar. So do we have a circuit? We don't have a circuit of no circuits of length 3 are present. So we can check for this. The number of edges is 9. Is 9 less than 2 into, what is the number of vertices? 6 minus 4. 9 is less than 12 minus 4 will be 8. No, this is false. Hence this K33 is not planar. So K33 has 6 vertices and 9 edges. Obviously V is greater than or equal to 3 and there are no circuits of length 3 in our bipartite graph. After that, if K33 were planar, then E is less than or equal to. Basically, we have 3 conditions or 3 corollaries based on the theorem. So the first one is E should be less than 3V minus 6. The second one is G should not have a vertex. G should have at least one vertex not exceeding 5. Then G has a vertex of degree not exceeding 5. So not exceeding 5 is the second corollary. And the third one is E should be less than or equal to 2V minus 4. So 2V minus 4 is equal to 2 into 6 minus 4, 8. and then E must be less than 8. So E is equal to 9, so K33 is non-planar. Now the next topic is graph coloring. Graph coloring is basically problems related to coloring of maps of regions such as maps of parts of the world have generated many results in graph theory. So when a map is colored, and we assume that all regions in a map are connected, so we don't basically we don't take unconnected graphs, we take connected graphs. Then when a map is colored, two regions with a common border are usually assigned different colors. So one way to ensure that two adjacent regions never have the same color is to use a different color for each region. So however, this is inefficient, and on maps with many regions, it would be hard to distinguish similar colors. Okay. So instead, a small number of colors should be used whenever possible. So basically, we are saying that whenever we have a graph, suppose this is the graph, or if we have a map, suppose if we are taking the map of all Indian states, then one way to ensure, so basically, whenever I am taking a map, if you notice the map in a colored map, then you will see that basically two states which are next to each other or neighbors to each other are not colored with the same color, because the boundary, you won't be able to distinguish the boundary. So that is why adjacent states or neighboring states should not have the same color. Now, but also, suppose if we have hundreds of states, so we can't use hundreds of different colors. Basically, what we have to do is the neighboring states should not be of the same color. But if the state is not neighbor to another state, then we can use the same color for it. So for example, if I have this graph with three regions, and I can use the color green over here. So I am using the color green. But here for the next state, so consider this is a map of some place, and it is divided in this way. Now this is green, so I have to make it red. Otherwise, we won't be able to demarcate the boundary or distinguish the boundary. But can I have this region as green again? So there is no edge adjacent to this region, so I can make this again green. So basically, this is while you are coloring the regions. Instead, so basically, I can also, instead of using green, I can also use the color blue. So this is only if we have three regions. Suppose what if I have 100 regions or 1000 regions? Then will you use 100 or 1000 colors? No. So it is always better to use small number of colors. So consider the problem of determining the least number of colors so that maps can be used to color a map adjacent, so that adjacent regions never have the same color. So let's see that. Now suppose that we have a map in this way. I'm just randomly drawing some figure, and I'm partitioning that. So this is here A, and then A is connected to the regions B, D, and then we have C and E. Now, how can we convert this map into regions? So basically what we can do is, each map in the plane can be represented by a graph. To set up the correspondence between a map and a graph, each region of the map is represented by a vertex. So for each region we have to take vertex. So I'll take 5 vertices: A, B, C, D and E. Okay. Now after that, edges connect two vertices if the regions represented by those vertices have a common border. So edges connect two vertices if the regions represent. So A is represented by this vertex A, and if this vertex has a to which regions does it have a common border? It has a common border with B, C and D. So A will be connected to B, it will be connected to C, and it will be connected to D. Now what about B? It has a common border with B, A, C and E. Okay. So E also, it has a common border over here. So it is connected to A already, I'll connect it to C, and it is also connected to E. Now what about C? C has a common border with D, E and A. To A it is already connected. To B also. Basically C has a common border with everyone. So I have placed, that is the reason I have placed it in the center. So C is connected to D and C is also connected to E. Now what about D? D is connected to A, E, C. So A is done, C is done, we just have to connect it to E. So this is the dual graph. So the resulting graph is called the dual graph of the map. This graph is known as the dual graph of the map. So by the way in which dual graph of maps are constructed, it is clear that any map in the plane has a planar dual graph. So the problem of coloring, now we will see the coloring problem. So given a graph, color all the vertices so that no two adjacent vertices get different colors, or we can say it as so that no two adjacent vertices get the same colors. Okay. So the problem of coloring the regions of a map is equivalent to the problem of coloring the vertices of the dual graph, so that no two adjacent vertices in this graph have the same color. Now this is the graph coloring problem. A coloring of a simple graph, so I am stating the definition, you can note it down. A coloring of a simple graph is the assignment of a color to each vertex of the graph so that no two adjacent vertices are assigned the same color. No two adjacent vertices are assigned the same color, or you can even write it as so that two adjacent vertices get different colors. A graph can be colored by assigning a different color to each of its vertices. However, for most graphs, a coloring can be found that uses fewer colors than the number of vertices in the graph. So what is the least number of colors? The least number of colors we can use in a graph is basically known as the chromatic number of the graph. The chromatic number of a graph is defined as least number of colors needed for coloring of the graph. The chromatic number of a graph is denoted by capital G, which is this symbol. This is the Greek letter chi of G. The chromatic number of a graph, capital G, is denoted by this symbol. This is the Greek letter chi of G. So the chromatic number is denoted in this way. Now for asking the chromatic number of a planar graph is very basically similar to asking the minimum number of colors required to color a planar map. Now we will see a few examples of how we do graph coloring. So first, suppose if we have this graph, in this graph I have 6 vertices and I am using 6 different colors. So basically let's take this as another color, the vertex, this green, it is light green and dark green. So let's just change it. I am changing it to purple. So this vertex is purple color. So I can color this graph with 6 different colors also. But if I want to find the minimum number of colors, that is the chromatic number of this graph, so we have to use the minimum number of colors. So I can take the first one as red, and I have to take the second one as green, and this third one with some other color. Okay, but after that I can take this as red or orange. Suppose I can take it by using red or orange, and this color I cannot take either red so I'm taking this color either as red or orange. Okay, let's suppose I'm taking it as red. Okay, so this is red, or better take it as orange, because if you take it as orange, here you can place a red. So let's just write it over here. I am taking this color as orange. This is orange, this vertex. So this vertex is orange and this vertex is green, and this is also orange. So now this vertex I can take it as red. Okay, So now red and orange is there, so we can take this vertex as green. So basically the minimum number of colors required is 3. Let's check it again. So I'm changing, so once again I'm saying this is light green and dark green, so let's change it to some other color. Let's change it to orange. Because each adjacent vertex should not have the same color. So if I'm changing it to orange, I can change it to orange also. Now this is red, and then again we have green. Okay, so this is the graph coloring problem. So based on that, let's see the optimal coloring or the chromatic number is the minimum number of colors for G. It is denoted by that symbol. Right? What graphs have chromatic number 1? Which kind of graphs will have chromatic number of 1? Where there are no edges. Suppose if we have a graph where there are no edges, we have only vertices, then we can have the chromatic number 1. Otherwise, even with a graph with one edge, let me change it. So yeah, even with a graph with one edge, suppose if I am taking this graph, I have to use 2 different colors. I have to use red and green. I can't have both the vertices with the same color. Okay. What graphs have chromatic number 2? What graphs have chromatic number larger than 2? Let's see the examples based on the chromatic number. So chromatic number is basically a very, very important topic for 2 marks, and either you get it as a definition or you are given a complete graph, bipartite graph, complete bipartite graph, any kind of graph for which you will have to find the chromatic number. So if we have a simple cycle, the chromatic number will be 2 if the number of vertices are even. Okay, if the number of vertices are even, our chromatic number will be 2 for a cycle. That is, we don't have multiple edges or loops. In that case, simple cycles C1, C2. If we have 4 vertices, C4, the chromatic number will be 2. What about C5 then? So let's check. This is a graph with C5. Okay. Now if I am assigning it the red color, so let's assign this vertex as red. So this vertex cannot be red. So I am assigning it green color. Okay. Now after that, this is green, this is red. This again can be green. Yes, it can be green. Okay, since both of these are not connected, it can be green. Okay. Now what about this? It can be red. Okay. So let's change it. This can be red. And again, even this vertex can be, this vertex now cannot be red. Why can it not be red? Because we have green over here and red over here, so we cannot have this vertex as red, so we need another color. So let's take the color blue. I have to have this vertex as blue color, and you can assign any random color. It is not necessary that you assign the same colors that have been assigned over here. You can assign any random color. So yeah, so over here we are giving the graph. Here I am assigning red and I am taking yellow and green. You can, I have taken in my graph, I have taken both as green. Here we are taking yellow and green. So now here I can take the red color and I can take the yellow color over here. It is your wish how you want to assign, but you have to assign it in such a way that the minimum number of colors are used. You can assign 5 different colors, but the chromatic number will not be 5. The chromatic number will be the minimum number of colors. So if your cycle has odd number of vertices, then your chromatic number is 3. Now similarly, we have complete graphs. So for complete graphs, let's check how many colors are required. So this is a complete graph with 5 vertices. So if I am assigning this one blue color, what color can I assign to this vertex? I need to assign a different color because it is connected to this V1 vertex. So I am assigning the color red. Now what about this? For this, Can I assign again red or blue? No, it is connected to the other two vertices, so I need a new color. Let's assign it pink. Now after that, what about these two? Now we know that this is connected to this and it is connected to this, and so this vertex is connected to the red vertex, blue vertex and the pink vertex, so you need another new color. Let's take black. And after that, what about this? So basically in a complete graph, if by now you have understood that we will need, we have n number of vertices, we will need n number of colors. The reason being, I am taking the yellow color. The reason being because each vertex is connected to the other vertex. So we have to take the number of chromatic number for a complete graph is basically the number of vertices. This n is taken over here. Now next, similarly for wheels, you can try to find it out by yourself. I am just displaying the answers. Now that you have understood the concept, try to find the chromatic number of a wheel. So if the wheel is W5, okay, you have 6 vertices, but you will represent it by W5. We don't take the inner vertex. Then your number of colors will be 4, and when it is even, the number of colors will be 3. So take a wheel with even number of vertices, odd number of vertices, and try to find it by yourself. Now we have an important statement which is known as the 4-color theorem. Let's see that. So the 4-color theorem is, this is just a statement, the proof is not really important. So basically the 4-color theorem is the chromatic number of a planar graph is not greater than 4. Is no greater than 4. So basically I am saying that a planar graph, you have seen the examples of planar graph in the earlier slides. So take a planar graph and try to find the chromatic number. You will always notice that the chromatic number of a planar graph is not greater than 4. By yourself, take an example and try to solve the problem. And this concludes your chapter 4. Graph coloring is the last topic in chapter 4. And after that, before concluding the topic, I will please take different types of graphs and try to find the chromatic numbers, check whether it is a planar graph, because in the case of graph theory or the concept of graph, what is important is there will be different graphs. You have to take different kind of graphs and try to find whether it what is its chromatic number, whether it is a planar graph, what is the degree, whether it can be, if it is a directed graph, what is the in degree and the out degree. Because in the case of graph, it is not that you will get the usual question. You will always be given questions based on the concept. So this concludes your unit 4.